All right, thanks for coming. We'll answer any questions you guys have at the end. And we're happy to help you guys get a better understanding as we learn about the program as well. So what is PreAP? So essentially, PreAP is a preparation class. It's not for college credit, but it's a class that is similar to and in preparation for a high school advanced placement. So the high school advanced placement classes give college credit in a variety of different subjects. And it is something the district's been wanting to do for many years. It's about 15 years in the making. So they're finally rolling this out to middle schools. And we're trying to, they and we are trying to do the best job they can to kind of roll it out and let people know what it is and what to expect. Essentially, if you had to boil it down to one thing, it's about strategies. So it's the kind of the same class that 8th graders took this year or that I've always taken, but it's different strategies. They're going to prepare them for these AP college credit classes in high school. So the district, again, in an effort to make things as open as possible, to eliminate any barriers, real or perceived for students that want to get into AP classes. There's a lot of stigma attached to AP. Those of you guys that have already had high school students, and just in high school in general, but there are no prerequisites. There's no, it's basically an open enrollment. We here are going to do opt-in, so it's not like a surprise that you're in the class and you have to get out. It's going to be try to educate everyone as best we can from the onset, and then have those students that want to be there and those parents that want to provide that as well. So that is what AP is in a nutshell. Essentially, like Ms. Haggerty was saying, if you look in the course book, you're essentially not going to get much help. It's an 8th grade class doing the exact same content as any other 8th grade class. So all the teachers are going to be teaching both AP and regular classes. There's not going to be any kind of AP team. This is essentially just the same content, the same STAR test at the end of the year for everyone. However, the rigor is going to change, those strategies that I spoke of, and then the assessment, the level of mastery, and the rigor will all be different in different ways. And we'll try to address how those differences will look in our classes. Essentially, if you open up the course description, it's going to say the same thing. The district hasn't come up with a different description, and they're already offering it. So when you read it, it's going to say the exact same thing. However, we want to stress that we're going to, it will be different, and that we're going to focus on these AP strategies that I mentioned earlier, specifically critical thinking activities, primary sources, extended written compositions and essays, and then existing assessments, as well as kind of using that as a stopgap or a combination with written assessment. And we are going to be working with the 9th grade AP Human Geography, IB World Area Studies, all the world, even the AP US History from 10th grade, which are also open enrollment. So we're going to be working with them to kind of have a 6 through 12 vertical alignment that kind of makes sense, as well as consistent as we can across the district. So that's the effort of the district, is make things consistent here and across the district and another middle school, as well as what we're doing here and what they're going to see at Westwood. So when we say rigor, what do we mean? So essentially, we want your child, your student, to have the best fit wherever they are. When we say strategies, I mentioned a couple of those as far as like writing heavy, and in addition, there's the way that students are assessed at the AP level in high school, which is essentially a DBQ in the history exam. There's a couple other written assessments that they use, but that's primarily going to be the strategies that we incorporate. There's a couple other just like AP, trademarked or registered kind of systems that we're going to be trained in: soapstone, DBQ, primary source analysis, and all of these things are things that we're already doing, but it's just going to be consistent across the district and consistent across AP classes, and have a little more communication and alignment with middle school to high school. We're going to continue to take the STAR at the end of the year in the 8th grade. We're going to continue to use our own assessments that measure mastery at the end of every unit, but we're also going to include these AP style assessments that are short answer writing, long form writing, including AP rubrics, so the students will be familiar with what they're going to see at the next level. Student expectations are going to include self-directed readings, note-taking projects, current event readings and analysis. There is a specific AP, but a lot of our students are also going to be going into IB, and so we definitely want to kind of keep an open discussion and have that discussion with the IB program as well. But all the teachers are going to be trained by the end of this year in all the AP strategies and have kind of a consistent, all the 8th grade middle school teachers are going to be brought in and trained as one cohort before the end of the year, during the summer, during summer professional development, and at the beginning of the year to kind of make sure this rolls out in a good way, in a consistent way across the district. So our recommended traits for student success, so what we're looking for, the student expectation, your expectation on what we should see. Self-motivation is going to be a large part of that. It's going to be difficult to kind of be in this class, whereas it used to be kind of just a tag inclusion in the regular model. Now it's going to be kind of like a self-interested kind of jumping into tag kind of idea, at least. So we're looking for strong reading and writing, time management, motivation. Essentially what makes any Round Rock ISD graduate. If you look at the graduate profile, if you look at if you look at any Canyon Vista information about what we're looking for from students and graduates, it's all the same thing. And then we haven't developed a specific set of like the timeline for removal or what that's going to look like, but just like the math program that has multiple levels and higher level and kind of preparing students for Westwood and sending them off to Westwood early and all those things, there is going to be a system or a process for student assessment, and then teacher conference, parent conference, and then removal if necessary, whether that's 3 weeks, first assessment, up to the first semester. We're still working out the details with our administration and the Round Rock central office. And so that is our presentation. Does anybody have any questions?